Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dante's game. I have a new microphone, and it is time to kill Bill O'Reilly.
Yay!
Hooray.
Fictional Bill O'Reilly.
But you didn't hear that from us. Yeah, fictional Bill O'Reilly. Just put that disclaimer out there.
No, you guys are yaying about Lewis's new microphone. Jeez.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Anyway, yeah, this is the mission where we fight Bob Barley, and as you can see, I've already triple S this, because at this point my recording started very regularly fucking up, and I didn't even try undoing my saves at this point, so sometimes I'm going to be doing a mission after I've already completed it on this file. So, in this mission, I get a new weapon, but I already have the new weapon. I might use it, I forget, but if you see me throwing bladed chakrams around, yeah, that's the new weapon.
Good to know.
But you just keep emptying your pockets because you forget that you have those weapons and thinking they're just scrap metal.
Anyway, it is time to actually get into Raptor News Network. Like I said, Raptor News Network is going to be a level. You'll see what I mean in a couple minutes.
And I now believe you may stand a chance.
Okay.
What made you change your mind?
Are you still talking?
You were right.
Yeah, and now I put Dante in the classic costume. I figured he's got this really ugly white patch on the back of his black hair. He might as just wear an entirely white wig.
To hide the faults.
Nah, to accentuate the faults by making them his entire haircut.
Yes.
Anyway, this is the beginning of a very, very controversial plot point, which I alluded to earlier in the playthrough. But Phineas suggests that the best way to get to Mundus is through his unborn child.
Wait, what?
Kill the unborn heir of Mundus, and it will enrage Mundus to an extent where he will mess up and he can be defeated.
Oh wait. Hold on. We're boarding his kid is basically what's going on here.
You want to hurt
The actual plot point is controversial enough, but it's a later scene involving Virgil that really causes the shit to hit the fan. By the way, when Phineas is whispering in Dante's ear at this point, he looks really creepy.
But be warned,
Well, why is he even whispering it?
the fury of Mundus is boundless.
I don't know. Dramatic effect.
Many thousands could perish.
Do we ever see this guy again after this scene?
No, he's gone. I assume they meant to bring him back in a sequel since he's escaping from the prison after this, but we never see him again.
And they're probably not gonna touch the rebooted series after this, I'm guessing.
I doubt it.
Well, how successful was the DmC reboot?
Well, I
Not
looked up
successful at all.
No, it sold by not successful at all. You mean it sold at least 2 million copies?
It's sold, but in the sense that
You're hoping it doesn't so well.
no, it's not critically successful, and a lot of the sales were people buying it because they got curious more than because they were interested.
That's still a sell.
Super Dante Galaxy, no! Stop!
But you know, Capcom knows that the reboot was not popular. They know Devil May Cry is still popular, but they know this wasn't popular. So, as far as I know, there are no plans to continue the reboot. And there have been, hints that Capcom plans to make a Devil May Cry 5 in the canon universe.
There's probably going to be like 20 jokes, if that happens, about how lame the reboot Dante is.
Beautiful Joe already made a reference to Devil May Cry 2's Dante being a guy who stole Dante's code. So yeah.
Make another Beautiful Joe just so you can rip on this guy a whole lot.
Also, yeah, Raptor News Network is going to be a level.
Hooray.
And by that, I mean Raptor News Network is actually a level.
Hooray.
Wait a minute. You're not
Wait,
saying
we're
what I
gonna
think
be.
you mean.
Wait, do you mean that we're gonna be fighting like in the logo?
Yeah, we're going to be going through the logo, yes.
What? Oh my! I was kidding when I said Super Dante Galaxy.
Oh, God.
But yeah, the thing this reminds me most of is actually the final dungeon of Final Fantasy XIII. because that had some serious virtual reality vibes going for it. But this is, unlike that dungeon, extremely short and just a basic platforming section that acts as a transition into the boss fight.
Well, I have to say this is probably the most visually interesting level we've seen so far.
Don't get whacked by the logo when you're trying to grapple into it, because I think that can happen.
Watch out for the news logo!
Dante, you can save 15% on car insurance. I knew that. Well, did you know words actually can hurt you? Someday that's going to be an obsolete joke, but I've been seeing that advertisement on YouTube a lot lately.
You see, it's ironic because he's a demon and he says he's doing God's work. Get it?
Yeah.
Is it they are disgusting, degrading?
Bob Barley is a pretty obnoxious character. Like in the first scene you see him as in the game. We skipped over this at the time, but he says, you know, I'm not for the death penalty, so there's only one thing to do. Illegally shoot the son of a bitch. That's a direct quote, or an almost direct quote, anyway.
No, wait, you know what this is actually reminding me of? The virtual reality levels of Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, it does look like that. Anyway, I don't know, Tron here, we need this is a really serious offender of the Devil May Cry 2 boss design mentality, because the giant evil Bill O'Reilly face sits in the middle of the room here and does fuck all except shoot really telegraphed distance attacks at you.
It does kind of remind me of the CPU from Tron. Yeah.
I will say that visually this is the coolest looking boss that we've fought so far. I mean...
Oh yeah, visually it's nice.
I mean, I'm generally not a fan of the giant floating head, but, you know, oh yeah, see, this is a pretty cool, like, visual
this is, yeah.
Thing, too.
So what do we know about this guy?
It's a cool transition, and it's a good opportunity to get your combo up. It's certainly more fun than the actual boss, but
Only I have the brains to deliver substandard social commentary.
they also take this rather oddly timed opportunity to give Dante some rather skewed backstory from Bob Barley's biased perspective, but apparently, you know, he broke out of broke out of juvie multiple times. He killed the head nurse at his orphanage, probably because they were a demon.
Or was she?
No, Lamia's the name of a demon. It's...
Damn it.
And then there's all this stuff about him being involved in gangs and stuff.
He was also a well-known cruiser
Sexually...
in the seedier district of the city. Rapidly spreading sexual disease.
The subtitles say sexually diseases.
Yeah.
Sexually diseases of the unholy kind. Okay, well it's not bad enough that that it's an STD. It's an unholy STD.
And we just can't have that.
Well, he was having sex with demon hookers at the beginning of the game, so it's probably, you know, actually kind of likely that he might have a demon STD. We don't know.
Ooh. Yeah, and if you time it right, you can actually destroy the targets that weaken him while he's in the process of attacking you, and get out before he blows you away. At this point, I barely even care about my combo meter. I just want to kill this guy fast.
Nothing wrong with that.
So wait, is everyone in the news watching this seeing Bob getting beat up by an invisible force?
Actually, it is strongly implied that they are, but you know, I'm not really sure about that. They don't really clarify. It's the cutscene at the very end of the boss battle that suggests they are.
I'm reading the things on the bottom. It says Bob Barter voted world's sexiest news reader.
Yeah, no. You know, there's a lot of interesting visual stuff going on that you probably won't notice while you're playing the game, because you're paying attention to all the demons trying to kill you in these areas.
Is there anything above Triple S?
Nope.
No, it's the highest ranking.
Just sensational.
Apparently Sonic Boom has a rank above Triple Plus. Good luck ever seeing it.
What are you talking about? It's easy. You just keep using the Ender Beam over and over again.
Yeah, but okay, well, an hour later maybe.
Oh,
It works.
30 minutes.
I interrupt this broadcast to bring you.
Alright, and this is actually a transition into our next plot point, although we still have a bit of boss to fight before it happens. While Dante is fighting Bob Barley, Mundus's police officers locate the rebel hideout. Also, we're going to see a bit of internet philosophy here again, because every police officer you ever see during this mission is A, SWAT, and B, a complete asshole who just wants to shoot people.
Topical.
Topical, also entirely biased, and I don't think, most people who even get on the police's case for, corruption and whatnot would agree with that portrayal.
Just doing God's work.
Okay, it's time to finish this asshole off.
What?
Oh, they literally made a "We'll do it live." He is Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
it's just like
If it wasn't obvious enough.
I wonder if anyone's even shown Bill O'Reilly this stuff.
And has he done a controversial news report about it?
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he knows and is just ignoring it, because it has all the grace of an internet troll, really.
yeah, it's an internet troll with about 3,000 times the budget.
It's an internet troll with a gaming degree. And this is the part where it's implied he gets shot on the air. Which, to be fair, looks pretty damn incriminating. And Dante comes back into the real world. And here we have the new weapons, Aquila.
And this is an angel weapon that we
Yes.
get from a demon.
It's considerably more compelling than the scythe in terms of its function, but it's really only good at all for crowded situations, because it has the ability to pull enemies in from all directions. And then you can wail on them with crowd control sweep attacks with both angel weapons. It's quite useful when you're being swarmed by weaker enemies, but it loses its usefulness after this point, because they start throwing you at more situations where instead of a lot of weaker enemies, you're fighting one or two stronger enemies that you'll want to use the demon weapons on instead.
Ted, he got the angel weapons from a demon that was just doing God's work.
You know what? I never noticed that before.
Okay, I'm already confused. You don't have to make it worse.
But yeah, there's nothing to find in the Bob Barley level, so you always get a triple S completion rank.
So I'm guessing this is probably one of the best levels to spam if you want upgrade points easy.
Probably, but you know what? I wouldn't do that, because Bob Barley as a boss is pretty boring.
Well, I mean, if you're grinding, I'm expecting you're probably not expecting to have the best time anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna buy Aquila some moves to make it actually useful.
Hooray.
That is one letter away from becoming an alcoholic drink. Maybe that was the point.
Aquila.
2 letters away, actually, because tequila is spelled with an E rather than an A at the beginning.
That is right, that is right.
I only know that because one of the characters in Detective Conan is named Tequila. You know, I would have expected them to show off a little bit more of Aquila in the combo cutscene, and they do, but they don't really show you what you can do with just the weapon by itself. Sort of work it into a combo with the other weapons. It does do some interesting stuff. Well, you can do some really cool-looking shit with Aquila. So when you're in Bloody Palace mode, or when you're making combo videos, if you're hardcore enough for that, Aquila is a weapon you'll probably be using a lot.
They're not in yet. I gotta get to them first.
Oh, did we travel back in time?
Hang in there, guys.
No.
I'm on my way.
We're going back to the headquarters where, you know, they only announced that they found it.
We saw a video of the SWAT exiting the van and we figured, oh, they're already there.
Oh, yeah, that is actually a pretty poor transition. But we are in the same city, so it's not that big of a stretch. And we also have, like, no geographic context for this at all.
We're in Los, New York, Chicago, DC. Done.
Los, New York, Chicago, DC, Vegas.
Yeah.
Sure. America Town.
America
There.
Town.
Yeah, that's a good name. Oh god, these fuckers are terrible to fight. Alright, they're basically variants on the big enemies we've already fought called Butchers. They have giant saw blades which they can fire off as projectiles, kind of like the way you throw your axe. Their weak point is the big fuck me light on the belly, so you have to hit them specifically there, which means you have to fight them from the same direction they're attacking you, as opposed to the other large enemies where you have to get behind them.
At least it's different, I suppose, because like in a lot of games, you know, how do you fight the big enemy? It's either you counterattack them or you get behind and hit their fucking light there. So.
Yeah, I will give them credit for this, but, you know, the most efficient strategy when you're just playing through the game is exactly what I'm doing right now. Spam the axe throw at their stomach, because they barely ever attack you when you're at a distance.
They don't know how to block.
They do give you pretty nice red orb and white orb payoffs, though, so when you fight them, you're at least getting something out of it. They are not nearly the most annoying enemy in the game, although we will have our first encounter with that enemy in this mission.
Yay!
So, because they're so easy to take care of with the axe throwing strategy, you view them more as a roadblock rather than a hindrance. Okay.
Actually, I tell a lie. We did briefly encounter the most annoying enemy in the game, like at the bottom corner of the screen in one of the secret missions right before the timer ran out and I won. It was the one where I had to survive in the glass dome room for a certain amount of time. But it didn't really do anything but hit me with a cheap shot, which is one of the reasons I don't like it so much. I didn't call attention to it then, not because I forgot about it, because I actually didn't notice it was there until I watched the footage during commentary. So when I was playing, my thought process was more like, I got hit? What hit me?
Oh, it's the game. I thought for a moment the police were driving outside.
Yeah, it's the game.
There he is, the pun master.
Oh, okay, you know what? This has nothing to do with games, but I'm just gonna say it. Artists, music people, stop putting police sirens in your goddamn song. Because if I hear a police siren while I'm listening to the radio in the car, I'm gonna pull over to the right and then look like a dumbass. So don't do it.
No. Actually, in this case, I think it's actually the ambience of the city area we're in, rather than part of the music.
Well, no, I'm being completely off topic, but yeah.
That was an asshole move. To be fair, the police officers are probably entirely human and just thinking they're killing terrorists. But at the same time, the gun happy. Why the gun happy?
Because social commentary.
Yeah.
This isn't even remotely close to how police operate. These guys are, well, we'll get to it later, but as you hear them, you basically hear them you know, they're more like dude bros with guns than police officers in terms of how they talk to each other during this operation. There's like basically no example of them using actual police operation lingo. Or, God forbid, telling someone to freeze before shooting them.
Well, that just gives me the impression that they're all demons.
It's, you know, there's never any implication that they are demons, though.
I think, yeah, that would probably be, I think, a little bit more helpful in the case of their portrayal, because if they're, I'm just trying to think of the best way to word. Okay, because if they made them all demons, they'd be making, you know, as subtly as this game can, they'd be making a point about, you know, the police's. You know, how the police act, and, you know, whether or not they're right or wrong is, you know, up to interpretation. But since they're not clear about whether or not the police are human or not, I think it makes the point a little bit harder to stick, because it's just like, oh, they're not demons, the humans are just that evil, or something like that. It's a little bit harder to swallow, I think.
Yeah, I think that's pretty flimsy social commentary, as we were saying earlier.
Yeah. Not like anything else is non-flimsy, but you know,
Yeah.
at least it'd be consistent.
Another big enemy, just to have, and a witch after we finish the butcher. Oh, and she explodes her force field too. You have to watch out for that.
Oh, she didn't do that earlier.
Well, eventually she does. Ooh, okay, that was good. Made it. Eventually, if you leave her uncomboed for a few seconds, she regenerates her shield and teleports away.
Yeah,
But-
you didn't give her the chance last time. That's why the teleport was new to me.
Yeah. I like the witch as an enemy type. It's a little less obnoxious than the color-coded enemies, even though it does seriously encourage one particular weapon for taking out the shield. Prop Shredder, actually, is in the canon series, the move where Dante spins his sword around like a saw blade is actually one of the Rebellion moves from Devil May Cry 3 and 4, but they relegated it to the Scythe for this one. It makes a little more sense with the Scythe, like, vaguely, but at the same time, you know, it's just an odd choice.
What was with those random close-up of Dante's face?
That was when the enemy wave transitions to the next wave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mentioned that in an earlier part, but that was a couple weeks ago.
Limbo just told us bitch is near. Is that they're saying that to Dante or?
They're talking about Cat.
Yeah, I know
And-
that. It's just like, are they directing that to Dante specifically?
No, they're directing it to each other. They're talking to each other. We can hear them from Limbo. These shades that we're seeing are... Well, it's kind of like when you're in Paradiso in Bayonetta. Another place where DmC does something Bayonetta did first. But you can see, like invisible shades of the people in the real world that you can't interact with completely.
Well, that's just this
In this
to
ca-
like. That's just to give the suspension to the players. Like, oh god, the SWAT team is approaching the girl. I have to go.
Yeah.
Even though we know there's nothing we can really do about it.
Well, we're actually going to reach her before they do, but that doesn't change the fact that she gets kidnapped at the end of this at the end of this part. Thanks, Virgil. Actually, I forget if we make it to the end of this mission this part. I don't think we do.
We'll find out in about 7 minutes.
Yeah, I only rolled this half of this mission into this part because the Bob Barley boss was so freaking short.
And haters gonna hate.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right, Dante?
You might want to work on that creepy Limbo voices.
This is also the mission where we get the shotgun, but not until the very end when we find Virgil. Virgil gives you both of the extra guns. Why he can't give you both of them at the same time, or God forbid why he couldn't have given them to you before he sent you on all these dangerous missions, I don't know. It's kind of that gamey delaying of people giving you power-ups that always leads to some amount of bullshit. Like, the Arkham games do that sometimes. Metroid Other M is the worst offender by far.
Ah, Lewis, you stole my... I was gonna make a Dante, you're not authorized to use the shotgun joke. Damn it!
That's exactly what it is. You're not authorized to use the shotgun. And you know, the worst thing about that is when you get to Dante's portion of Devil May Cry 4, he just starts with a shotgun. He doesn't even need to find it like in the other games. And he usually finds the shotgun within the first 2 missions.
It's okay, Dante. The chainsaw is only in your mind.
I have nothing to say about these goddamn chainsaw men anymore. They're just annoying.
Well, not anymore.
They do the same thing over and over, and it's just a matter of jumping over them, getting them into the air, and juggling them to death.
Or
It's like
doing that.
fighting a really bad Tekken player.
Look at all these computer things.
Well, Virgil, with his $1 million, bought a hell of a lot of computer shit.
Are you here?
So, yeah. There's you know, I give this version of Virgil a bit of shit, but his dynamic with Dante is slightly amusing for the 10 or so minutes you actually get to experience it in one of the last missions. Although that does have one of the most hilarious lines of dialogue in the game.
That's okay.
And I was tempted to spoil that line of dialogue just now, but I'd rather save it for a later part. Most of the people in the comments who've seen this game probably know exactly what line of dialogue I'm talking about.
Ooh, now I'm suspenseful. Not trying to.
Ah, God. This area is just like a rehash of the hallways in the Virility Factory with computers. Okay. I can hear a lost soul somewhere. Where is it?
Is this one of those labyrinthy type levels?
Not really labyrinthy. It makes itself a bit confusing to navigate for the sake of looking less linear than it is, but it's actually one of the most straight line areas in the game. I think there's only one real way to go, whereas a lot of the areas give you two ways. The nightclub level is pretty nice about that. Whoops.
There's a nightclub level?
Yeah. We're going to go back to the same nightclub after this section, actually, where Dante was at the beginning of the game. And we're doing that to follow up on Phineas's hint. So the next boss after this is going to be Lilith, the ugly skin falling off her face demon chick that Mundus was banging in a previous mission.
Okay, so here's a question. How did Phineas know that she was pregnant? Or whatever the demon equivalent of pregnant is.
Well, I'm not sure. We don't actually know when Phineas was put in prison or why, so it could be that he was trying to target Lilith herself, but we're never given any information on that point.
Well, I mean, because, well, like, the way he worded it made me not entirely, like, trust him, I guess, but, you know, I guess demons could have, like, a millennium-long gestation period. I don't know. Like,
well, we don't know. It's Mundus's heir, which is apparently important to Mundus. Apparently, Mundus isn't totally immortal, demon emperor or not. So he doesn't love, he doesn't care, but he does care about continuing in his line. God damn that shockwave. It always happens when I'm up in the air, too. Oh, right, and they self-destruct sometimes. Magnificently, gloriously, if it's the last thing that blows up, because you get to see the explosion. This is the enemy! Fuck this enemy.
This thing right here?
Yes! And here's why. It blocks your bullets with its swords, and it teleports.
Ooh.
well, oh
Joy.
no, well, I was gonna say, well, we're getting towards the end of the game, so this is when the most annoying enemies tend to show up, but we're really only slightly past the halfway point, if the parts are to be believed.
Yeah, it's... Well, we're not gonna see this guy too often until the end of the game, but... God, that teleporting sweep attack. It's just, this enemy, I'm never really entirely clear on where the opportunities to hit him are. And that's an ongoing thing in this game. Like, I have the same problem with the final boss fight with Virgil. I still, to this day, don't know exactly when I'm supposed to hit him. I sort of just try to hit him until I succeed. And he's not particularly hard to survive, so I last him out. Anyway, yeah, I say we're not going to see that guy until later in the game much, but the truth is we don't actually finish him off until later in the game.
Dante,
I'm here.
I don't know what to do.
Where's Virgil?
I don't know. He's probably in the server room, the Octagon, but he might be.
The server
stuck in
room
limbo.
is called the
How do we get to
Octagon,
him?
with
I don't
a
know, I'm stuck
capital.
here.
Is there something I can do from Limbo?
I get it, because Pentagon is a government thing, and they were the good guys. Game, you're so smart.
I'll guide you.
Also, the server room isn't much of a server room. It's actually just sort of a giant open arena. Oh, I forgot. This is actually separated into 2 missions. Huh.
What if we tried the desiccated scroll seaman again? God damn it!
Well, that's for getting in and out of Limbo. We're already in Limbo. That's where we need to be. Anyway, yeah, I got a vanilla S rank for that one.
Oh,
A bit subpar for this game's standards, I know, but I'm sorry. It wasn't an easy mission. It was a pain in the ass mission, you know, with the teleporting thing and the saw blade monsters, and I'm sorry to disappoint you guys, but I got such a terrible ranking.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lewis. S is not good enough. You need to be S or better if you want to be part of BrainScratch.
You need to be sensational.
Yeah. This is BSSSSC, not BSC. Jesus. Get out of here.
BrainScratch. What are the other two S's?
Let's just stop.